Welcome again, folks, to the 2025 first garden tour of the year. People always ask where am I located. I am in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So everything here has to be started a lot later than some places down in the south. This year we had quite the cold end of spring, so I really couldn't get planted until about the end of June. Or at the beginning of June, sorry. You might see an appearance of this little girl, Ruby. She's awesome, with those green eyes. I will start over here. As I leave them out in the garden, you will see two hydrangeas. This is one of them. This one is the other, for anyone who are wondering what those are. And then I also have a red raspberry and black raspberry cross. These things are amazing. I'm going to move these everywhere in the yard. Look at this big old plant over here. It's kind of in the shade, so it could do a lot better, I bet. Oh, that was a rabbit. Alrighty. I have these nice little diagrams here rather than looking at the pulling up the tags each time and take time to look at what they are. So this is going to be, I'm going to start at the oval garden, I'm calling it. I've mentioned it in previous videos, but for anyone new, I've created a raised bed of sorts. Don't mind the long grass. With varying 10-gallon grow bags and 5-gallon grow bags. And then in the center, it's easier to see over here, I suppose, yeah. And then in the center, I loaded a whole bunch of dirt around a stump. This is an old maple stump over here. It has been deteriorating for 5+ years now. In the past 2 years, it has been good enough to plant some plants directly in the middle of it. This year, I actually took a shovel and kind of dug the middle up a little bit and then added a little extra dirt. And the side over here is so deteriorated, there was basically nothing there, so I just kind of built it up to create the same stump shape that was in the back. And then the rocks there kind of keep the stupid squirrels from digging in it, so that's actually a good idea. It does look like I may have some crosses in there, though. I'll jump in there right now, I suppose. Those do not have the gator scale look to them at all. So maybe that's just because they're the first, but the second grouping doesn't either on the pods. But they're quite large plants. They're doing real well in there. While I'm in here, I guess I can start with these. These are two crosses. The same one, Orange Lesia by Jimmy Nardello. Two different pods in there, if I can get a view. These are more smooth. I think these are F3 or F4 maybe. Over here I have Garden Salsas. These are quite hot anums. Very meaty. They're useful at either green or red. And right here I actually have a yellow Nardello. This is my first time growing these. Also in the middle are, this is a Freeport Orange. Then we have an EOSB, Elysium Oxide Scotch Bonnet. There's one of the pods. And over here I grew two of those EOSBs last year, and one came out with a caramel color. It has a lot lighter of a pod shape color, so maybe it did actually come out caramel. It's always a question if you have a different phenotype, or a new cross. I figured it was a new pheno, and let's hope it turns out to be caramel, because it was a real cool one. Next to that is the 7-pot Primo. This guy right here from famous Troy Primo. I saved seeds from my own growing plant last year. Whenever you are growing plants and you're saving your own seeds, the bees and other pollinating insects can cross them and create crosses. So I actually have quite a few of those. That actually looks like it might be a cross. This is orange scorpion, famous of Mojo from the Pepper Lovers Discord. I think these also might be crossed. They are quite a bit longer. A lot of these I'm getting my first view on because they've been growing very rapidly and I haven't really seen much of their growth. This is Odin chocolate. Those look like they did last year. Pretty cool pods. Next to it is a golden privatale. I don't know what those are supposed to look like, but that might not be it either. And over here we have Lord Ruthven. Let's get close up into here. Those look about right. Very, very large pods. This thing got absolutely loaded last year on every one of these branches all along it. And then in the center, besides those two crosses I mentioned, we have 5 blood ghosts. So those are the purple ones planted nearest to the stump. I found those plants don't grow very bushy. They kind of just grow tall and then put out a couple of branches. Here's the best one, I suppose. They actually get pretty loaded with pods for how few of them are in there. And then let's start on the outside. Let's start here. I'll put this down for a second. Here we have K by F. What are these? Kashmiri by Fluorescent. As you see, there are 5 darker ones on this side here. I have 10 planted in here. These are quite large plants. You shouldn't really do this. But why not, I said. I'm kind of just pheno hunting. I found this dark one last year. I don't know how common it was to just continue on with the darkness, but it really kind of did. And then on this side are 5 lighter ones. As you can see from up above, it is already getting shaded out. They need to grow taller so that they can do much. A lot of times this year, I'll actually just pull the bags out and throw them over by that fence you saw where I first started, where Ruby was laying. Right to my driveway, there's quite a bit of sun over there, and they get enough where they can really display their colors. So next up we have Purple Phantom. This was a really cool, I believe it was a bubblegum, maybe not. Very runty one right there, my bidding. We have the EAA show going on overhead, so there might be some very loud planes coming and going. We just had a F-35 jet roar around the area. But anyway, here's the Purple Phantom. As you can see, the ones up top are getting the most sun, so they're turning purple. And these guys down here are quite shaded. That's how the antho works. Next up we have a Dreamsicle, also a cross from I'm forgetting the name. Then we have Purple Gator Jigsaw. Let's see, this is a really tall one over here. Half of it broke off. Half of this Y split. And those are 2 new ones right there. So it looks a little funky. But there's one of those pods. These are usually very slow to put on pods. When those roll through, I'll have to just kind of stop the video for a moment, maybe take a picture of them. Right here we have Mexibel, which is an anum. Then we have KSPSK. This is the Peach Starkist. Look at those guys in there. Then we have a salsa pepper. And another salsa pepper here. I don't know if this was an F1, and now I'm growing F2s. Friends should share these with me. They saved the seeds, I think. In between them is a white Moruga scorpion. These get quite big pods. They get nice and white. And at the side here is a Dream Weaver. This is a cross that someone renamed. I forget what it's actually supposed to be, but it's quite the beautiful specimen. The branches are real nice and purple this season. The pods usually get quite pinkish, orangish, reddish coloring to them as they start to ripen, and some of the antho sticks to them. And we have two more garden salsas in these small ones over here, not in a row, but over here also. I like these guys. Those are some of my favorites. And in between them are Orion. So this is also pretty late to put on pods, like the purple gator jigsaw. It grows very tall as well. And then to the other side, a Reaper by Jay's Peach Ghost Scorpion by Unknown. Very purple out here in the sun. They weren't in previous years, as I didn't have them in this sunny spot. Then is another cross over here. We have Aleppo by Urfa Bieber. This is Aleppo by Urfa Bieber 100. This is what I named it. And that one as well, for the keep track of the different phenos. And then in between it is a purple cream bubblegum. This is a pretty cool bubblegum. On the other side here we have a Fadas White by DD Purple. Just one pod to really look at, but there's lots of other buds going on. Then we have two more of the Aleppo by Urfa number 2s, I called these. I got a couple and I just numbered them. There's one and here's another one. And in between them is a pink habanero. I haven't yet tried this one yet. I have a cross with pink habanero, but I didn't make the cross, it was somebody else. Next up is a Bahamian goat. These things always get loaded. This is actually the shadiest spot of this oval garden and probably my yard that I grow in, besides maybe some of the ones over here. As you can see, there's a lot of trees up here. They do a lot of the shading of my sun. There's a big guy over here, shades everything on this side. So next up we have a Santana's Bananas. There are 3 of those in there, and then here is another Santana's Bananas all by its own. These guys were a lot smaller when I planted them, so I was like, alright, let's throw them all in the same pot. Of course, they're large plants and they're going to become a hassle when they get older. In between them is a Jay's by Pink by Reaper Lemon. This is a real cool looking one. They get a mostly white with sort of a yellowish tint to them. On the other side of the Santana's Bananas is Pink Tiger by Peach Butt. These guys are real cool when they start ripening. They get an orangish, reddish, peachish color like some of them all other ones. Then we have Sweet Dreams. There's 2 of them in there. And another Sweet Dreams. These are all, these crosses that I've mentioned are Whispering Pines Tea crosses. Then next to them here is a Lemon Yellow Brain. These guys are very large pods. Pretty cool. Bit more brainy than I remember them as well too. And lastly is a KSLSB. Kangstar is the KS of these, this and the Peach Star Kissed. He's another famed grower. These are smaller ones that I had. Alright, that is it for the oval garden. Let's flip my page here and move to the patio. So this is the patio if anyone wants to pause it and check out what everything is. I can maybe go from the back here. We have a Reaper by Jay's Peach Ghost Scorpion by Unknown as well, just like I did before. And then we have a Rimmerhaus Fun Strain. These guys are really cool looking from what I bought, but these are just kind of normal looking peps, but it is loaded, so that's cool. Next is a KSLSB number 4. This was a much larger one. I wondered if it actually crossed with the Peach Star Kiss, which is a bigger pepper. We'll see what happens later in the year. Next to that is a Bahamian Beast Peach. This is grown as a Bahamian Ghost, or Bahamian Beast. No? I forget. But someone found this different pheno. And these pods got a lot bigger last year, so maybe they actually crossed. But it's loaded. Next to it we have a Chocolate Gator. This was found by Kansas. I forget his full name. Kansas Gardener, maybe. That one looks the most gatorish. A lot of these gators don't look gatorish right away, but they do near the end, or on the buds farther out on the plant. Next is the RB003. Oh yeah, I think this is actually correct. I think the pot in there is very bumpy. These usually, yeah, these look absolutely horrendous. Next up is a Gator Jigsaw, just a regular little gator. The ones up top, yeah, these are actually getting the gator pheno going on. The ones on the bottom are a lot more elongated and not. Then over here we have a, what is it? A Ghost Droppings on this side. I'm pretty sure this is a cross. These are supposed to be nice little teardrops. This is a cross by Boss Grows, another famous grower on the Pepper Lovers Discord. And in the middle here we have a Citron, or the other side rather. Pretty loaded with peppers. This thing was actually on the other side of it. I had this plant turned around, and this is the sunnier side, so it kind of shaded them out for a bit. So the Citron kind of stopped growing. I turned it around, and hopefully the Citron takes off and gets a lot bigger. Hey, Ruby. Then we have a Thor. I think it's a Thor's, just a Thor's? Yeah. Or a Thor's Thumble. Hi, Rubies. This is actually a cross that I'm growing, or I think it's actually a different phenotype. I grew these again last year, so I'm just growing some more. And one turned out, it's supposed to be a peach and purple, and my cross 2 years ago, or whatever, different phenotype, turned out to be a red and purple. And then last year I grew them again, and I got one red and purple, one peach and purple. Let's move over to this side. So over here I have a Capia and a Alma. I think both are paprikas. I think the bigger one is the Alma, and the Capia is the longer ones over here. And we have a Dolomite Bieber, two of these. Might have a cross. Let's see, these are quite different looking, that one from this one. Then over here we have a KSLSB number 4 again. As you can see, these are a bit bigger, bulgier, and have more of that peach Starkist look to them. Then over here is a real cool one. A Rimmerhaus by Ghostly Bubblegum. Somewhere in here it must have Nymphadora genes. It's not in the name, but I'll just get a good zoom in on some of these leaves. It's worth it for this one. It's very cool. The pods are just the same. Look at the striping on the pods. That's quite amazing, actually. There's a couple of them in there. Next to this we have Orion. Again, you saw one earlier. Like I said, they are usually pretty late to pot up. They like to grow a lot taller before they even try. And then up here we have some flowers. Next to the Orion is Jay's by Pink by Peach Lemon, or Jay's by Pink by Lemon Reaper, sorry. Looking on Fido as well. And then next to them we have Tiberius Mahler Caramel. And then lastly is the Purple Death. These, only the Orion is really showing the purple antho expression on the leaves. I guess this one is a little bit too, but not a whole lot, just the very top. These aren't listed anywhere, I don't think. This is a Calico by Mutant, which is a cross made by Matt's Peppers. I've been growing these out a lot. This is actually one specific phenotype that I found last year. And this is the same. This is another phenotype I found last year. It actually has a real cool mutant. Quite the bright purple on it in places. Hopefully that zoom did well. This one over here had some of these. They weren't quite as bright purple in areas, but they're still pretty neat. We'll see what they get to when they're bigger. Some of these though, these leaves are absolutely gorgeous. Then I have a cantaloupe. I think these are mini cantaloupes even. It was planted pretty late. Nothing's going on yet. And then there is a Sesgati 179 paprika right here, and then a Melrose, which is a famous one from the Chicago suburbs. I guess there's a town, I don't know. There's a town called Melrose, and it was brought over from somewhere in Europe, Italy maybe, I don't know. And then put my page here. We have, well, over here I have these GreenStalk towers. These are a new addition this year. As you can see already, this whole side is shaded. It's the only shaded part of my garden, so these guys got shaded out already as I started the video. but the bottom is shaded out, so these aren't growing nearly as tall as the ones in the top, which I have the bushiest. I'm calling these the corn peppers. These are an Ahi Charapita by Pink Habanero Cross. This was done on a Reddit forum, and I grew 5 specimens, and I found one that was actually called buttered pop. Well, I nicknamed it buttered popcorn, which is, there's 5 plants here. The back 2 are buttered popcorn, or the children of the buttered popcorn. So I grew 3 of those last year, and I got the three sections up here. I ended up naming the Skittles Sweet, and over here I ended up naming just corn, and over there I nicknamed sweet corn. As you can imagine, I nicknamed them after the flavors. This one over here was like a pineapple Skittles with a very, very, very sweet, with just the slightest bit of a tang or tartness to it. It is absolutely candy-like. I think this is, if it continues on, this would be like probably the best pepper I've ever grown. So we have here buttered popcorns. Those are a little upward growing pod, not much here. Nothing on this one. But that guy over there, let's take a walk. This guy over here actually has some nice bulbous ones. Over here is I forget exactly, it was an Ahi Charapita by Habanada, that's what it was. I ended up getting a heatless Ahi Charapita. As you can see, upward growing little balls everywhere. Do I have 3 per node? Nope, just 2 per node so far. And this one is a lot lighter. It might actually be a different color and not yellow. It might be a peach one. That'd be pretty cool. Let's hit up these corn peppers more over here, I guess, now that I'm here. There's two extras. I had 8 of these. So these are the Skittles Sweet. You can see they get pretty loaded with pods. So even in these GreenStalks on the top, you can get numerous peppers. It's just like one plant there, another plant. This is another plant here. This is cool. These looks like those little bite-sized pickles almost. This one is also an upward growing one. Oh, stop the video. I'll have to stitch this together. Then over here, another upward growing one. Then we have the regular corn, that downward grower. This one's a little bit lighter than the rest. Let's see what it does. These are all no heat, by the way. Little downward ones, and this one's a big upward. I'm actually looking for the bigger phenos of these flavors so that there is less processing. Then we have the sweet corn. This one was also had 8. I ended up making it through the germination. It's there. I only have one hand here mostly, so bunch of downward ones, smaller guys. Those are pretty small. And those are bigger. Bigger than the rest anyways. So, then on the back side of these we have Mexibel. This is the Mexibel correctly one. And then over here is a cross. You can see this little bumblebee guy here. Because of those, we get all kinds of crosses here. But this is supposed to be an Annam, and I think it crossed with a Chinense. So I don't know of any Annam bubble gums. It's got a cool little flared out pedestal. Or is that, no, the pedestal is the stem. What's that called? Calyx. They don't as they're growing, but then as they get more full grown, it it kind of starts to separate. Next up, I have a cross that I found named the Nanner Jammer. It is the longer one over here. Those guys. And over here, we appear to have another cross. And then lastly are Jimmy Nardellos. These are some of my favorites. There's two there and another two over here. Over here I have 20 Marconis, red Marconis. These are some of my favorite peppers. I think I am zoomed in here. Let's zoom back out. Whoops. There we go. So we have Marconis. These get pretty big and long peppers. They're not bell peppers, but they're my bell pepper replacements. They're far, far sweeter. They're literally amazing. I mix them with all of my spice mixes to get nice and sweet mixes with a bit of heat from all of the hot ones I'm showing you. There you go. There's those. This is a little runty guy here. I left the peppers on. People always say, should you pull early peppers or not? If they're big peppers like these, sometimes you should. These are almost green pepper sized, so they might actually be a cross too. They're supposed to be longer, like you can see here. Some are thinner, some are longer. This one actually is kind of a beast. That is a long bell pepper shaped. Like, pretty huge. And then we have a Bahamian Peach, Beast Peach, F6 as well. He's a very late guy. I'm like, let's just throw him on the ground somewhere. And then a Sunrise Scorpion, again, a late guy, just throw him on the ground. And these are those awesome hydrangeas. This is a bit of an older one, so it's kind of getting the darker magenta spots on him. Then we have the blue guy over here. These flowers have been out for maybe a couple weeks. They just continue on until they don't. Hopefully these actually pop out and I get 2 more bushes of these. But this one over here is a lot more pink. Well, at least on this side it's a lot more pink. They're pretty cool. They're the only flowers I have. And then behind them are 3 Aleppo peppers that were very late also to get in the ground. Pretty small pods on these. They should be bigger. Then we will move to my mostly Baccatums. Here, so you can pause it if you wanted to see everything in here. We've got Starfish by Peppa Pete. Unless this was a mix-up, this is incorrect. It is a cross as well. It should look like these. Upward growing balls. So you can zoom in there, or focus, whatever. There you go. Then I have, this actually isn't erotico, this is a Peppa Peach. And then we have 4 ahi lemon balls. These are ahi lemon, different phenotypes that someone else found and shared it around. They're bigger balls, so they're much easier to harvest. A whole bunch of them. There's not a whole lot of the bigger ones down low, but up top we got lots of buds forming. So that's those 4. Then we have 2 ahi crystals. These are very light colored, and these are not. So one of these might actually be a cross. I forget which it would be. Next to all these are 4 ahigayanas. These look like green beans sometimes. Green beans hanging in a bush. They get nice and yellow. They have a perfect heat level, useful for just about anything. Then we have 2 more actual pepper peaches, just like the one I guess I showed you one before. This one over here is in the best sunlight, so it has the most amount of pods on it. I'm a big fan of these. And then the erotico pepper. You can imagine why it's named that. We got a little focus on here. There you go. So they're pretty cool little dangling pods. And over here is a Cap 445. These are quite good peppers. They are no heat, and they have the Baccatum flavor. There's a little fly for you, little bee. I don't know if that's one of the ones that lays the eggs in the pests. A lot of the bees you see are actually good. If not pollinating, then they kill the bad pests. Lastly is the pineapple rocoto. Now, as you can see, there is a upper canopy forming. It grows out an initial canopy right here that, I don't know if this is what was supposed to happen, but it covers the dirt and protects it from getting nice and dried out. And then it lets out its branches to get a little bit longer and drape along the ground, as you can see there. And then after a while, there's like 5 of these or 6 of these shoots that come up from the base. And they get higher and higher, and they do a couple Y splits, and then they branch out just like down below. At least the past rocotos that I've grown have done the same exact thing. But they are some of the coolest peppers to see. They have cool hairs on them, especially when they're growing fast. And then they have these cool purple flowers. Nice and fuzzy stems. And then, now, oh, actually I forgot a section, didn't I? We gotta go back. Oops, sorry for the sideways camera there. It's hard to do this one-handed. We have this row over here. The bottom row here. This is the garage side. So I have 3 nanner jammers also over here. 1, 2, and 3. And then I have 2 LSJs, lemon. I always forget the SJ. Lemon spice jalapeno. Those are correct ones. These appear to be a cross. These are a really good pepper. So that might, crosses of really good peppers I kind of enjoy, because you never know what you might get out of them. Then we have another Mexibel, and yet another Mexibel. Then we have a Cajun Bell. Then up here we have, I'm gonna wait for that plane to go by. We have 2 MA warthogs that have just got a Y split, finally got some flowers, and then one on the side here, an RB003 by Primatali. Finally also getting some pods. And then we have a more lemon spice jalapenos, 3 of them. These all look about correct. And then next to it we have a Nora and a Piquinho. These are Spain peppers. I don't know how to pronounce them. And then there is 2 Where's the Heat. These are very sweet cotton candy flavored peppers. That one looks different from this one. So I don't know which one is correct. And then next to them we have a cross that I found. Jalapeno by Marconi's, question mark, with a Marconi. Not exactly sure on that, but it makes sense with the extreme sweetness that they displayed. So there's one, there's another, and there is the third. So I have 6 of these. There's also 3 in this pot. A bigger pheno, a longer one. The one from last year was kind of a banana, a small banana pepper shape. And then we have over here, lastly, ahi mango. There's 2 of them in here, not just so it is loaded. And then finally, now that I got the rest of these over here, we have my Chinense main garden. I'll let this, or maybe it's easier to do this. All right, so starting at the bottom row here is 2 PSK yellows. Matt's Peppers found these last year in his garden, and he shared me some seeds. They were more yellow rather than going white. I forget exactly what that means, because they were kind of yellow. Next up we have what I call the KSLSB number 4. These were the larger ones that I found last year. I didn't know if it was a cross or a phenotype, so I named it number 4. And then 2 more KSLSB 2s. These were just the second, this is just like the second plant that numbered. So I could keep them all separate because you never know if you'll have different phenotypes. And these were the most on pheno. And then we have 6 here in both of these 2 rows. Bahamian goats. These guys get pretty loaded. This might be a cross. Those are much darker and bigger. Loaded and light colored. Loaded and light colored. Yep. So I got 5 goats and 1 cross. Next to them is a gator by habanero. This was also a cross someone else found. So when I grew multiple plants, I nicknamed them. One had less seeds over here, and then this one I nicknamed more seeds. They are different looking phenotypes. So then we have 2 orange scorpions. Let's see if these are looking like they should. They are. Good. Too bad the one I put in the best spot isn't the right phenotype. You never know. But those are awesome little guys. And here is the other. You can't really tell if those are correct yet or not. Then we have a Douglas Inception. Douglas Inception. He's had very cool tails. And look at those. Should not disappoint. Then we have Primatali. This guy is not putting out pods yet. Next we have 2 Rob's Folly. Also a famed gardener from Minnesota, Rob. I don't know his full name, it's just that it's Rob something. And then next up is a Chocolate Gator Kansas from the Pepper Lovers Discord as well. There's the second plant of those I'm growing, and then 3 at the end here are all regular gator jigsaws. There you go. Looks like we're getting more of the tip bent in shape. And lastly, yeah, the first phenotypes are not, or the first nodes are not putting out the best looking peppers, of course. And we have two very cool purple ones. Most of these out here aren't very purple. What are they? Dreamweaver, another one of those. The one over there was not very purple, but this is in a very, very sunny spot right here in this fourth row. And that's Purple Phantom. Again. I had one over there. These actually look like they have the correct calyx. Pretty cool looking ones. Let's get a better view from this side, maybe even. That one even has the calyx separation on the back end. These are getting quite the antho response on the actual pods and the calyxes too, because they're right up here in the sun. Like, look at this guy. Then going down the line, we have Pink Habanero, another one of these. Then next up is Tom's Giant Peach Scorpion Lemon. This is bought off of the Matt's Peppers website as well, mattspeppers.com. Then we have two habanadas. Look at this backwards, this is a little confusing. These are no heat peppers. So, these are in the middle of a lot of hotness. I haven't done this before. I usually had these over where the Marconis were. So, next year, when we do some taste testing, we will see what actually happens. Maybe I'll get some crosses that I won't even have to do myself, and the good old Lord will show me exactly what should be done. And next to him are two called Trinidad Sweet. These are my first time growing these as well. Got off Matt's Peppers. You go there. That one has no pods yet. And then in row 5, by the wall here, this is my chocolate row. So we have Chocolate Massacre. Those are big pods. I don't know if that's just because they're doing so much better here or because it's cross, but that plant gets loaded. Then Chocolate Primatali. Right there. And then next to the Chocolate Primatali is Hellboy. Ooh. Those look like hell. Yeah. Then next is a Lord Ruthven. Buddy, he gets loaded, but let's get going here, huh? Come on. And then we have another Hellboy. Nope, wrong way. Odin Chocolate. This is one of the shorter plants that I've grown that gets potted up and then grows taller. Let's see if it's actually doing much. It is, but it's so short. Little stubby guy. Needs to get going before these other guys shade it out quick here. Then we have a Swiss chocolate. This is a habanero type. Just barely got going on the pods. And then last two here are Goranong chocolate. I've grown a Goranong yellow before. That's a habanero type as well. Longer pods and big old pedestals. Pretty cool wiggles in them. And then we got Chocolate Bootla. Chocolate Bootla is a monstrously hot pepper. It doesn't really have any pods to see outside of just some little starts. Next we have Fatali by Brain Strain. I forget where I got this. I think probably Matt's Peppers, like most things. But I found this specific pheno anyways. Giant pods. Again, this is in a second one. Also, just giant longer lobe pods. They weren't as bumpy last year, but these are pretty bumpy. Then we have Apocalypse Scorpion. Right here. Nothing there to show. And then we have another RB003. We saw one earlier. I think this is an incorrect shape, but that was a nice shape. That is a monster. Woo! Another monster. That might be a cool pheno to save, regardless of if it's correct or not. Grow it out and see what happens. Then we have purple gator jigsaw. Look at that. Past the third ring easily. That's what this plant does. It grows super tall, and then it's like, okay, let's worry about pods when the season's almost over. A little annoying for Wisconsin, but it's very cool to watch grow. The stem action down lower is quite phenomenal, actually. Then we have a pink tiger by Peach Butt. Ugh, look at that giant stem. I didn't get through that first ring. That'll be annoying. Cool pod. It should get a whole lot more. Those get that nice peachier, but orange and red color to it as well. Then we have one no heat primo. Can't really see from the pods, they're just tiny guys. And then lastly, a Trinidad perfume. Also a no heat one. We will see if we get any crosses out of there. Next up is one of my favorite rows. It is the orange row. I think there's some yellow at the end, it's not all orange. So first off is a Carbonero orange long. These first three plants are anyway. And right here. There we go. And next we have a TTS. What is that? It's an abbreviation, I'm forgetting what it is. Tangerine TS, that's what it is. Look at that bee. That looked like a honeybee. Jeez, okay. These are the largest tangerine TSs ever. I saw this earlier, didn't know what plant it was, but these are giant. Next up we have a BBG by SRTSL orange. Right here. These were more oblong last year. They are not this year at all. They are giant pods though, and wrinkly as all hell. Then we have a Mantis Claw yellow. Third from the end. My first time growing these. And then at the end here, two yellow fevers, sorry. Yellow fevers are great pods. Plants, rather. And the second one looks correct too. And over here we have another Rimmerhaus by Ghostly Bubblegum. Pods are a bit longer, but also has the stripage. Where's my hand? I can hardly see in the sun here. There we go. It's not showing quite as much variegation on the leaves, but it might be in a much hotter location over here. Next up, grab my sheet again. We have 3 lemon yellow brains. Let's get on this side of the sun. Oh, look at those. I love these guys. This guy's taking his good old time. And this guy, kicking some ass. Look at the cool wrinkles. Next to them we have a chocolate bootla. These are dangerously hot. And then a Lord Ruthven again. Finally, this one is getting nice and potted up. And then on the end, we have a two white Moruga scorpions. Oof, no pods, no flowers. At the end, we had a few. Same over here, no pods, no flowers. Couple in the middle. Oh, we'll be late. Now, this is a mostly no heat row, or low heat. So we have Trinidad perfume on the end here. This is a no heat. Love these things. Then we have Granada seasoning. Also love these, 2 in a row here. Right there, another Granada seasoning. That one looks the most normal in my memory. Then we have 2 sweet morugas. These are also has a very no actual sweetness to them, but quite the Chinense flavor actually. There's the shape of them. And then on the end we have 3 no heat primos. Let's see, these are usually pretty late to pot up as well. Very little and just some flowers again. And yeah, same thing. Not much to show with them yet. And lastly, I have my crosses row. This is the last row. It usually is the smallest row, but this year it's not that much smaller actually. This I think gets like the least amount of sun. It gets shaded out. I think it's the latest in the day sun rather. We wait for that plane to go by. So over here are 2 no heat Primo crosses. I found this cross last year, so this should be the F2. There's a little pod there. And again, another one of those. We'll see what this comes out with. Last year, I feel like it was only habanero level heat. A lot of people thought it was super hot level. Next up is a Frankenstein bubblegum cross. I got a yellow one rather than red. So we'll see what we get this year. This plant seems to be a whole lot more. That one got tore up by something, and I hope it suffered. And next up we have 2 Starscream. I call these Starscream Super Stingers. It was the right color, Starscream, kind of, but it had just giant stingers on them. Like this. Look at that beauty. I didn't know if it was a cross or a different pheno, but if I continue getting these, that's what it was last year. So this again is one of those. I'm really hoping it's a different pheno, because that is a special looking pepper. Then these 2 over here, I nicknamed Yeti Fingers. They were very long, white, so I just gave them Yeti for white. Yeah, both plants long. If they continue to be white, this is going to be amazing. As you can see, like there aren't very many peppers in this shape that are come out white, if there is any at all. So I'm really hoping that's a new one. Then we have, I found a Gator Jigsaw cross last year, or 2 years ago, rather. Yeah, 2 years ago it came out Gator Jigsaw orange. So I grew 2 of them out, and 1 was chocolate. This one ended up being chocolate, so I planted 1 of them. And this one ended up being an olive color. It is not the same. It was bulbous and olive. But it's nicely potted up, so we'll see what we get. That's actually quite loaded. Pretty happy with thatness. And some very late peppers. It was 4 more of these blood ghosts, but something chopped the other one down. What is this? Oh, that's glass. Nice. Love to see it. There's a lot of glass in this garden back here. It's pretty terrible. Nice little blood ghost. Nice little blood ghost. Last year I got a few of these as well. Some green ones that I grew them, and they had the same exact shape. And they ripened the same exact color. So that, folks, is my first tour of the year. If you guys like this, you should join the Pepper Lovers Discord. See y'all next time. Goodbye.